Okay, so welcome back. So we have seen about the basic data types available in a Python. Now let's see another constructs available in a Python programming language like a looping mechanism and a decision making mechanism. So let's first see about the looping. Looping is nothing but you want to repeat some work continuously based on some condition and based on some criteria, I would say, and certain number of times you want to execute some task repetitively. So in that case you have to use this looping mechanism. Now let's say if you want to print from 1 to 10, you have to write up this print statement 10 times. So you shouldn't need to write this way, I have to write this way. Okay, string, and then let's say 2, then let's say 3. So it's a very much boring work, I would say, actually. But instead of that, you can use this looping mechanism. So for looping, there is a two different mechanisms are available in a Python, like a for loop and a while loop. So we are going to use this one function like a range function. So range will give numbers from 0 to 10. It has returned this range object only, but we can use this range object to iterate over it. So I'm going to use this for loop, and let's me create one temporary variable. Let's say temp in and range. I'll explain you what is going on here. Let's say 10 and colon, and let me just execute it. Now this white space character is very much important in a Python programming language, because now whatever I am going to write, that is a part of this for loop. It is a body of this for loop, so it has to be a one tab separated from your for loop separation. So I'm just going to print this temp. Okay, so what will happen is that this is iterator object, so it will return 10 numbers, or it won't print those 10 numbers immediately, but you can iterate over 10 times. So every time you iterate, that number will go inside this temporary variable, and once we execute or we entered into this particular loop, it will execute this print statement and it will print that temporary variable number. So if I just do the shift, you can imagine that instead of writing this way, this for loop will be very helpful, that within just 2 lines of code I have displayed from 0 to 9 immediately. Let's say if I want to display from 100, 0 to 100, now you can see with just couple of character I have changed here, and it just start working. So this is the power of this looping mechanism available in any programming language, because you can iterate over every single object or values available in this particular object, or any iterator you can do it. Let's say I'll create one simple list. Okay, so list we haven't gone through yet, but let me just do it now. So let's say I just give the random number, let's say 23, 45, 66, 90, 32. I have just 5 numbers and I have created this list. List, you can consider it like a array, and if I want to print all those numbers available inside this list, so instead of range function, now we are going to use, let's say, temp. Temp is a temporary variable, so every time the loop iterates, every single values available in this particular list object will be copied to this temp. So I am going to iterate over this list, and let me just print this temp. Now you can see every single value has been printed. If I, let's say, just want to add 5 to every single element, I can just add it here. So 28, 23 become 28, 45 become 50. So this way it works. Now let's add some more complexity. So I'm just going to copy it here. Now if I want to find how many of those numbers are odd and how many of those numbers are even, so that's where the decision making will come into picture. So we have already learned in our high school mathematics or basic mathematics course in our school studies that when you try to divide any number by 2, and if the remainder is 1, that means it is a odd number, otherwise it's an even number. So same principle we are going to use it here, but now we have to take those decisions. So that's why this decision making if else statement will come here. So if else is something like an English statement only. So what I'm going to do, temporary variable modulo 2. Now why it is modulo? Modulo will give, rather than division, it will give me the remainder. and I'll just going to compare with a 1. So if it is a 1, I'm just going to print, let's say, that particular number temp. Instead of temp I can take any other variable name also, that's not a harm in it, and I'm just going to print along with it is odd, and apart from that else. Now you just better take care of all those white space. I'll explain you what is happening here, and print, let's say, temp is even. Okay, so now this print statement is under the body of this, or in the context of this if part, and this particular print statement is a part of this else. So it will try to iterate every single element or values available in this particular list once it enters into body of this particular for loop. So this whole you can consider as a body of this for loop, and it will try to compare first with modulo 2. If it is a 1, it will return a, it will just print this particular statement, and it won't enter into else loop. But if it is not modulo 2 is equal to 1, so in that case it will be a 0. So we are just going to print it as a even. Let me just make it bigger case. And once it enters into first if loop, it won't enter into else loop. If it enters into else loop, definitely it would not have entered into if loop. Okay, let me just execute it. Now we can see 23 is odd, 45 is odd, 66 is even, 90 is even, 32 is even. So that way it is looping mechanism and a decision making statement you can combine together, and you can operate over infinitely large, you can say. I mean, it is not practically possible, but very large array you can operate with just a few lines of code, and all those business logic and whatever operation you can perform on every single values available in this particular list or iterable object, I would say. We'll see list into great detail about that into next video. So once you operate within just few lines of code, you can do all those kinds of stuff inside on every single values available on the top of this list object. Okay, so that is all about the decision making and a looping mechanism available in a Python.